Mark Hays was a 26-year-old normal guy. Sure, he had his problems, but that don't justify him being murdered in cold blood. Many believe this stemmed from a drug deal gone bad. They called him a narc, and for that, he was murdered. Not only did they murder him, they filmed it. This story is not only about the murder of Mark Hays, but the possible corruption surrounding the investigation. Is this a case of a small town covering up what really happened that day? This series will investigate the murder, the possible corruption, and how this is probably not an isolated case throughout the United States. Stay tuned. Hello, and welcome to Investigator Podcast. I'm your host, Chad, alongside my wife, Sherry. Say hello, Sherry, to the world that we've missed for a little while.
Yeah, we have definitely missed you guys, and we have seen comments, so we are so sorry, but we are back, and I think we're back to stay this time, Chad.
Yes, we are. We've just been, like I said, extremely busy. We do apologize, but I know there's a lot of craziness going on in the world. We pretty much completely missed the Will Smith slap and all that. Thank God we missed that. I think enough people have talked about that. But welcome, guys. We thank you all for joining us. This is a continuing series of the Mark Hays murder. We have covered this, I believe, on 2 episodes now, if I'm not mistaken. I think we have 2 episodes on this.
Yeah, so if you've not heard them, you need to go back and listen to the first 2.
Yeah. But for some, we'll give a little bit of a recap here. We won't go into necessarily all of the details. And I think my mic is just a little bit low, so I want to make sure. Sound a little louder. There we go. We won't go into absolutely everything we went into in the previous 2 episodes, but, we'll give a little bit of a recap. We're also going to be talking with Mark Hays' mother tonight. And we're going to just kind of get her viewpoint on kind of what she's been dealing with, how the investigation has been, what has been her process in trying to, dig for answers and try to, solve this. I mean, obviously we've only done 2, now 3 episodes on this, but, I know, Sherry, you've been in contact with, you more so than obviously but you've been in contact with Mark's mother for a while now.
Oh, yeah, for like years.
Yeah, and so it's, just us as podcasters, people looking on the outside is tough. It's tough because it seems like there's so many things so close, but yet so far.
Right, exactly.
And I think
it's just heart-wrenching. Like, you're so close, and you have so much things that you can be going on or they can be going on, and it's still unsolved. And, I remember when the anniversary came up for Pauline, where the 5-year mark happened, it really, it hit her hard. It hit her hard because that was like when it officially became a cold case, is after 5 years. And it's been like 5 years and 4 or 5 months now, and there's still no answers. Yeah. And it's just heart-wrenching for me, for her.
Well, here's the thing about the no answers thing. So let's just briefly, I'll give a very brief, synopsis of what happened. Mark Hays was murdered in this small town in Arkansas by the name of Malvern. That's where him and his family live. This is where the investigation has kind of centered around, is Malvern, Arkansas, also known as Hot Springs County, I guess, is the county it resides in, if I'm not mistaken. And so when Mark was murdered, they didn't find his body until sometime later. Yeah, and he was murdered.
It was like 4 months.
So 4 months.
August to November. I'm pretty sure it's been a
while. And then it was just kind of what happened after that. And it wasn't just Mark that was murdered around this same time frame. There were a couple other people.
Yeah.
And where all this kind of went screwy was the amount of evidence that, just based on everything we've heard, we've talked to so many people during this whole process. recently talked to more people and kind of talked about the handling of evidence and how the evidence was handled, and was it handled the way it was as far as the integrity of the evidence on purpose, so that possibly things couldn't be admissible in court. There were evidence that got lost and whatever they claim, and Sherry's going to talk about that in a minute. But Mark's murder was, many people knew about it. Many people, I believe, was there when it happened.
Mm-hmm.
There was, this is almost kind of like one of those things that, say one of the worst things that can happen. We've heard of, for example, girls getting raped in high school, or they get completely drunk, and then there's guys, and we've actually heard cases of this, but guys would videotape them raping her,
mm-hmm.
be dumb enough to then pass this video around, not only completely humiliating the girl, it's herself, but just the fact that they had the balls to do this. And this was kind of like what it seemed like was the whole Mark Hayes thing was kind of being passed around of, whether or not the murder itself, and you can actually see the murder, whatever, who knows. But
there was a videotape.
Yeah, there was a video, yeah,
passed around of that time, and people were passing around, and all of a sudden that disappeared.
Yeah. So anyways, so there's a lot of evidence that was kind of, from what we believe, mishandled. During this time, there was also a sheriff change. There was an outgoing sheriff, a new incoming sheriff, and so.
But the outgoing sheriff was only sheriff for 2 months, so they had that case for 2 months, and during that 2 months, they set up a humongous war room with both the Cooper murder and Hayes murder, mm-hmm. and they had stuff plastered all over the walls.
Yeah.
Just of 2 months in investigation. Well, unfortunately, they got voted out or whatever, and so the new team came in, and they,
from what we heard, just wiped out the room.
Yeah,
and for those of you that don't know what a war room is basically something you would kind of just put it in your brain. It's something you would kind of see on like a television series with law enforcement, to where, especially, I'm not saying it's as sophisticated as, say, NCIS or something, that you go and they go in this room and they've got all these things everywhere. I don't know what their war room looked like, but just put that in your head. So they got pictures and ties to people and associates and this and this and this, just trying to put everything in view, to where you can physically see it. And it's one of the things, it's like, if I don't write something down necessarily, or especially if I'm trying to put something in order, like, for example, when I do a video, when I edit video, for me, it helps to write scripts, especially if I do voiceover stuff, because then when you write it, I write in paragraphs, right, or sections, but then I can look at this and then kind of put them where I want them, but it also helps me guide me through the storyline
visually, yeah.
And really, murder investigations and things like that is a storyline.
It is.
And you want to figure out who are the main players, who's the main actors, who is the supporting cast of this. And the only way you can really, truly do that is a war room. So when the outgoing sheriff was going out, the new incoming sheriff was coming in. From the way it sounded like, they basically just kind of said, screw this room and anything you have in it, we don't really care. I'm not saying they don't really care. I'm just saying the room was gone. And there's a big blame game back and forth between
the two administrations.
Evidence. Yeah, the evidence, what happened with the evidence from that time, from the outgoing sheriff to the incoming sheriff. We have talked to some people that talked about the integrity of evidence. Some of these people that we've talked to are, I'm not going to go into who any of these people are, but I just will say that I guess their integrity, as far as when they tell me this, is very high because of, just it is. So the handling of evidence and how all that stuff possibly happened. And we're going to get more into the integrity of evidence part later. But Sherry, I want you to go ahead and get the thing that you're going to read, because I want
that's what I was going to do. But
anyway, so yeah, there's a big debate right now between the two sheriffs, or I guess the old sheriff's it's not really a debate now. But what I'm saying is, each one blamed the other. And for how the evidence was lost, how certain evidence was not admissible, how certain evidence was this or that. And the reality is that based on everyone we've kind of talked to as far as why evidence was either, I guess not really lost, misplaced, destroyed, whatever the case is, it doesn't, just based on all of the witnesses or people that kind of knew this type of stuff, it absolutely didn't sound like it was the outgoing sheriff. That is the reason why most of this evidence is either...
And it's, like you said, it's a blame game here.
Yeah.
And, there's so many residents. I'm just going to just say this comes from directly Facebook, Hot Springs County Sheriff's Office. These are the people that are in charge of the investigation of the murder of Mark Hays.
So this is a statement they released? This
is a statement that they released like 5 days ago, I think. 6 days ago, about the information about the Mark Hays murder. And let me just clarify that the previous administration was there for 2 months. They've been there for the last 5 years. So they've had 5 years to conduct whatever interviews, whatever things they need to do to get the evidence they need to get. But I really found this statement like, wow. So they have all these statements, and I guess there's a bunch of stuff going on about social media with their latest deputy, about the deputy.
Yeah, you were telling me about that last night. I still don't know what exactly you're talking
so this
about.
guy was found to be unjust on his physical actions with...
Okay, yeah, the video. There's a video that came out of an officer. And is it Malvern Police Department?
No, it's Hot Springs County Sheriff.
Hot Springs, sorry.
Deputy Winberry.
Yeah, Deputy Winberry, and what happened with that, and I guess it was a very bad video when it came out.
Right, and people are just like saying, why did you give him a pat on the back and give him a raise or whatever instead of doing something in disciplinary? So anyways, they're talking about that. The sheriff department is saying what happened in this investigation, what they did wrong. But anyways, on the number 8 bullet, that's where I was like, wow. I want you to just listen to this. Should I read? You know how I do when I read.
You want me to read it? Okay. So they basically have a bullet note of kind of all the things about all this craziness.
About the social media thing that's going on. Everybody's spreading rumors about this sheriff department. And one of them, number 8, is strongly towards Mark Hayes' murder.
You know what I do find funny is number 7, it says, if the judges, prosecutors, sheriff, lawyers, and officers, and keep in mind, this is from Hot Springs County Sheriff's Office. Number 7 says, if the judges, prosecutors, sheriff, lawyers, and officers are corrupt, why has the Arkansas State Police or the FBI not come in to take over and indict all of them? It's just weird that the Sheriff's Department posts
that
this.
They would even post that.
Yeah. Number 8, it says, the previous administration had shoddy investigations that initially led to continued efforts of many man-hours in the Cooper and Hayes murder. Many case files were displaced, destroyed, or neglected, and computers were erased as the administration changed. Evidence was lost or stolen, quote, from the evidence lockers, resulting in narcotics dealers walking free. Okay. And like I said, I'm not saying for sure of any of that, but based on a lot of people I've talked to, I don't think that's the way it went. That's at least what I will say. And it just sounds like, look, when you have an entire town, there is more people.
I want you just to read some of these comments on their official Facebook.
I won't say names. I won't say names to this. Well, hold on, I'm looking.
No, but I've already this one.
Okay.
Read that one.
Someone said, only reason this stuff was lost is because you done something to it. I remember when y'all had a gun in the evidence room and took it, y'all, over an hour or longer to find it, and that was under your administration. So what do you have to say about that? Nothing has got better. Every time I turn around, I see one of your officers hid off something, doing something. The last one was out in Bismarck, hidden next to a bunch of cars at a shop. Someone said this is April Fool's Day, which is...
but if you go down, this is actually on their Facebook page, and if you go down and see all the residents that live there, there's maybe 3 like positive comments, and the rest are like, "What are you doing here?"
Yeah.
That, to me, that speaks volumes when you have a whole county of residents.
Yeah, and so this Officer Winberry, by the way, was found. He was found in violation after the first incident. So he had numerous incidents.
Right.
The first one, he was found, basically to whatever, and they gave him a promotion. So someone had said, "Why would you give him a promotion? Is this a reward for bad behavior?" Out of Winberry's many incidences, how many of those were you present for? And there were written complaints. What happened to them? Encrypted radios or not really isn't the issue.
Wait a minute. Back up real quick, though, because there are people stating that their sheriff was at the place at the time of these interactions with people that were illegal.
Yeah.
With the
which we don't know that for sure.
Yeah.
But didn't exactly understand what you were blabbing about. The Hot Springs County Sheriff's Office in the compliance. Then why don't we have grants for additional deputies? Don't think the FBI investigation is over yet, is number 7. Number 8 is why blame the previous administration for lost evidence when the evidence wasn't really lost? Why not just admit you choose not to do anything with the evidence instead of saying it lost or stolen?
And these are many, many residents that live in this area.
Yeah. And
this is not just one person,
Yeah, I mean, there's tons of people in here. It's, that's the thing is the reason we chose to do this episode, and one of the people I was talking to last night, I said, one of the reasons we chose to do this is because, number one, if we can obviously help Pauline and the family of the Hays family and all of them to find closure somehow in this, obviously we want to do that. We've talked to so many people during this, and we've dug pretty deep in certain areas, and we continue to do so. But it's not, if there's one thing that, regardless of whether or not we find out who killed Mark Hays, for sure, regardless, and they are locked up, I don't think that it is possible that that county isn't corrupt. And something needs to be done, and that's why we want to keep putting pressure on this department and this entire town, because it's towns like this that are pretty small, and unfortunately, when you have towns that are so small like that, they feel like they can get away with a lot because they just feel like it's the good old boy system, this is that, and to be quite honest, we have a lot of craziness going on in South Carolina with the murder of Paul. What the hell is their last name? I can't even think right now. Paul and Maggie, and that whole situation.
Oh, the Murdochs.
Murdoch, yeah. But anyway, so he was a judge. I think we'd even talked about this on one of these other episodes.
Yeah, right.
Or he wasn't a judge, but he was an attorney. He solicitor, you name it, over 5 counties. His wife and son are dead. It's a giant piece of corruption that I think the corruption in that case is just so deep. I mean, it spreads across counties. It could even spread possibly statewide. It is nuts how corrupt this is. And the thing is that places like this put layers and layers and layers and layers to where, we only, you would have to peel back 30 layers to really get to how deep things are.
Exactly.
And even in this situation, there's obviously things and names we can't say on the podcast for reasons, and I wish we could. I mean, we probably could, but this goes pretty deep, possibly.
It's really deep,
and in this county, so it's just we're kind of at a point now where there was also another shooting.
Yeah,
which we don't know exactly 100%.
And the kid
what
just
the outcome
died
is going to be. He died.
He was on life
support.
support.
This is in Malvern, as well.
Just happened. He was on life support for 2 weeks. They did a surgery, and from the complications of surgery, he died on his own. But it's just like there's been so many murders that have been unsolved in this county within even the last 5 months that nothing has been done about anything.
Yeah.
It's almost like they have a huge rug and they just want to sweep it under the rug with everything.
Yeah, you're right.
And I just don't get it. Like, they have 0 speeding tickets in this county of all last year, but they have all these murders and none of them are being solved.
Yeah, most of them. I mean, except for, I think
Susan
the
Cooper.
Susan Cooper
And the
murder was
only
solved.
reason why her murder was solved is because she was an informant and the FBI took over.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. The FBI took over that case.
Because she was an informant. That's the only reason her case has been solved out of all these cases.
Yeah. Now, what do you think is the situation? So now, did someone say this guy that died, what is his name? Do you remember his name?
Brandon Kreitz.
Brandon Kreitz.
Mm-hmm.
So Brandon Kreitz got shot. How many times? Well, we don't know because
this is hearsay.
Right. Yeah.
I heard
because actually that was not correct based on someone I had talked to. But yeah. So this guy gets shot by someone that is in this town, and whether or not we know who this guy exactly, from what I've heard, they're saying something about it's accidental shooting. We've heard rumors that, he was shot multiple times. Whatever the case is, I don't know. But what I will say is that kind of that situation is we've heard that similar names, I'll put it that way, that kind of leads to all of this.
Exactly, yes. And this is not just from, this is from a lot of different people.
Yeah.
That's what makes no sense is these names are constantly brought up over and over from people that are reaching out to us that, want to remain unknown. They don't want their names known, but it's the same names over and over and over. If we're getting the same names, the police have gotten the same names.
Yeah.
What are they doing?
I don't know. Nothing. We were trying to get in touch with Mark Hays' mother. We cannot get in touch with her right now, but one of the things I wanted to ask her was, I think she told you kind of some of the updates as far as what she's been getting when she's calling to get an update on this entire case. They keep saying, well, we don't have anything else to go on right now, so we're working on other stuff. Mm-hmm. The reality is that when a sheriff's department has to come on Facebook like 5 days ago and hit bullet points that are like 8, 9, and 10 bullet points long with reasons why they're not corrupt.
Exactly. That should tell you something.
Yeah, it's like if I had to release a statement on Facebook, me or us, Investigate Earth or whatever the case is, and we had like 9 bullet points of how we're not corrupt.
Yeah, these are the things that happen and why they are. You don't see that in any sheriff department.
No, you don't.
And I think that speaks volumes, and I just went right on their Facebook page and I was like, holy cow, I cannot believe they're even releasing these statements. But I guess social media is so big and the residents, I think, are just fed up. They're tired and they want cases solved. They want the crime to stop there.
Yeah, and look, we've said this before. We've talked about on a previous podcast of the Mark Hays thing is we feel like based on everyone we've talked to, we know who did it, and with pretty high confidence,
right?
And is this town, for example, if you just go to the sheriff's department, any small town, whether or not people are close and all this stuff is one thing. But any small town you're going to have people that are going to be close-knit and they're going to talk. And they're going to, they're going to call out BS. They're going to, and all that. And so the same way the community is doing the Hot Springs County Sheriff's Department, if you go to their Facebook, the fact they have to release a 10-point bulletin thing
about all the things.
Yeah, it's the same way. It's like people also talk that way around the situations. So, when we release a podcast, we say, hey, if you guys have any evidence, if you know anything, and it's not just normal people. It's everyone. This is what small communities do, and small communities talk. No matter
they
who,
do talk.
Yeah, no matter who you are, and also for the people out there in this particular case that, if you're listening and you were involved, the reason that we know you were involved is because of everyone talks.
Everyone else knows.
And by the way,
they do, and it's not a laughing matter, but they do know.
You never know who you can really trust. And I want you, the person that did this and the people that knew and were involved in this, I want you to understand one thing is that some of the people you think you can trust, you can't. And I just want you to know that because we've talked to everybody. And that's something that sucks for you because eventually it's going to bite you in the ass. And it's not going to be eventually long, I don't think. It's going to be eventually soon.
Well, you've seemed to stay out of jail for the last 5 years, but we'll see.
Yeah. And it's so we'll see what's up. I think we have Pauline on the line with us. Pauline, can you hear us?
Yes, sir.
Okay, awesome. This is Mark Hayes' mother, everybody, and Sherry and Pauline got involved, I guess probably a couple years ago as far as trying to figure out the case. Pauline kind of told her story, and this was something that Sherry came to me about, and and hearing everything, I was like, yeah, we definitely got to get involved in this. Pauline, tell us a little bit, I guess, about, one of the things we can't do on the podcast is talk about who Mark was on a
personal level. Like I feel like, I feel like I know him, but as a personal level.
Who was Mark, from a mother perspective?
He was a funny, caring, just all around, would light up a room when he walked in. His laugh was contagious. He always wanted everybody laughing. He cared about everybody. He tried to help everybody he could.
Yeah. And did he, growing up and all that, were you guys pretty close, like family wise?
Yes. He has a brother and a sister, and his little brother is 16 years younger than him.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And he used to carry his little brother around on his shoulders everywhere he went. We done everything as a family. We were a very close family. Him and his dad worked on cars together. It was a typical family. We were close. We ate together. We done everything together.
Yeah. And so was his brother, does he have a brother and sister?
His little brother. Yeah.
Yes, he has a little brother and a sister.
Now, were they old enough to kind of know, like, and how old were they when he died?
His sister would have been, she's 6 years younger than him. His brother was 10 at the time.
Oh, okay. I got you. So they definitely remember all that. And
yes.
Are they still dealing with it, emotionally and all that?
It's very difficult emotionally. His little brother, he seemed to be the worst. He got suicidal at one point. I took him to church. He wouldn't talk to nobody. He finally started talking to me and talking to friends, and he's in a better place now. His sister has had severe emotional issues. We've had years of dealing with it, and of course I have my moments and I get upset. The dad does. I mean, it's been very emotionally draining on all of us.
Now, yeah, so you have kids. Do you guys feel safe in Malvern where you guys live in your county? Do you feel like the county is a safe place to live at this point in time if something were to happen to any of you? Or
No. Okay. No, I do not.
And do you think that transcends to your kids at all? I mean, how do they feel about, knowing that, their brother was murdered and yet nothing, I mean, obviously there's a lot of crazy stuff that's happened as far as everything following his murder. And so even if you're 10 years old and, the years following, you realize it's kind of scary when you start not being able to trust the people that you should be able to call and trust when something really bad goes wrong, but especially if you think there is any type of negligence. I'll say that to the very least, but it sounds like more than negligence to me. What has been your story with the Hot Springs County Sheriff's Department? How has whatever you want to say, feel free. But what was your experience with the previous department versus now? And because we just read, I don't know if you heard, but we just read their new Facebook post about all the 10 reasons why they're not corrupt.
Yes.
But what is the difference in the previous administration? Who's telling the truth here, in your opinion, as far as who lost what evidence? Give us your opinion on that.
My opinion is, if anything was lost or destroyed, it come from this administration, the Mike Cash administration. The last administration, I had a very good relationship with the detective that was on the case. We got along really well. Not to say I haven't gotten along with some of Mike Cash's detectives. I have. There was one that I didn't have any issues with. He would work with me. If I got upset, he would call me. He would talk to me. He would talk me down. He made sure everything was good. But the last administration, they would call me, they would check on me. They called me on holidays to make sure I was okay, to make sure that we didn't need anything. Mm-hmm. And they still do.
Yeah. So what?
Well, and I remember in a previous episode, we actually played a voice clip of this current administration hanging up on you when you were asking for information about your son's murder.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've never asked for details in the case because I understand that certain things have to be kept quiet so they can link it to the case, and that's fine. And I've never asked for details. I simply wanted to know how his investigation was going, and I got hung up on.
Yeah. I mean, and like I said, and last time we played that clip was, it just shows total lack of respect. And at the very least, whether a department's corrupt or not, you're an asshole. I mean, you know, and that's at the least. And I think that's part of what we lose with law enforcement. And that I'm a big law enforcement proponent. We definitely need them. I've been there and done that before. But at the same time, corruption or mishandling of things and dirtiness is a disease, and especially in small little towns. And what was your experience from the time Mark was murdered, and how did it change? Like, what went wrong with this investigation, you think?
I really don't know exactly what went wrong because I've never had to deal with law enforcement before. This is the first time I've ever had to deal with anything. As far as what went wrong, I don't know where it went wrong. I do know when administrations changed, I didn't feel like this administration really cared about what was going on.
Yeah. Yeah, we've heard that a lot from...
like I said, I had one detective that I dealt with that I didn't have any issues with.
Yeah.
He left them, and since he's left them, I've not had anybody up there that even cares enough to talk to me.
And so it sounds like there's a lot of, like, how many murders have you guys had there in like 5 or 6 years?
Well, even in last months.
Well, since November, we've had 5, and there's been no arrest made.
And this is so Malvern, Arkansas is it like a really small town?
I think it's 33,000 people.
So that's pretty small, yeah.
So in the last 5 months, since November, she said.
Yeah, November.
There's been 5 murders. And there's no arrests.
That's crazy.
And then even before that, we had all these missing people, and
we still have missing people.
Yeah, and so I'd heard too, and I kind of asked, like, what is the drug situation around there?
It's bad.
Yeah, and it seems like, so just since November 5, but then if you go back 5 years, I don't know how many has been in that time frame, but it seems like there's not many. And I actually do remember we talked with someone that knew a lot about the town based on what their profession was, and not even going to go into who that was, but kind of their take on things was that it's been bad. The town has a big issue.
Yes.
But and I think it's almost to the point where, and it's actually a couple people we talked to recently, you guys have a pretty big corridor from Mexico up through Arkansas, right there with drugs and everything else. But I just think that you can't. Where the corruption thing for me comes in. Number one, losing evidence, destroying evidence, or whatever the case is. Like, you come in as a new administration, and I mean, I understand, like, if you're a new administration, obviously you're going to blame it on the other one. I don't see why there would be a reason for an old administration to destroy evidence that's something they've been working on for however long, or 2 months. Yeah, or whatever.
Well, we had the last detective had asked to stay on the case and was told no, and he was let go.
Wow. Makes sense.
But Pauline, you actually saw the war room, right?
Yes. Yes, the last administration took me into the war room and showed me pictures because I had asked and begged to see the crime scene photos because I needed to see where my son was.
Yeah.
And when you walked into this war room, what did it look like?
It had whiteboards up with names and pictures. Of course, with the Susan Cooper case, it was ongoing, so they had stuff hung over it, paper hung over her side of it, so I couldn't see all of that. Anything to do with marks, they left open for me. There was boxes sitting around. There was computers in there that was turned on that had pictures on it. It looked like off of a movie. I mean, it honestly did.
And for their statement on number 8, which we read earlier, they said it was lost because of the previous administration. But how do you lose computer information?
Yeah, they said the previous administration wiped the computers. They lost evidence, whatever the case may be. But listen, I will say, just based on some credible sources, that's absolutely not true. And it was really the other way around.
So as far as what you saw when you went in there, and even after they exchanged administrations or whatever, did you actually see some evidence, or what did you see when you would go in there?
At one time, I was told that they didn't have anything, any disk or anything that come off the computer because that's how they stored the stuff was on disk. I was told that they'd lost all the disks, that they didn't have any evidence. It was lost. They couldn't find stuff. All they had was what was wrote down in his file. And while I was talking with one of the detectives, there was a Ziploc bag with probably 20 to 30 discs in it, and they were labeled pertaining to Mark's case. And I asked about it, and he said he didn't know. He hasn't had a chance to go through that yet.
Oh, my God. Sounds about right.
So how does that happen? I mean, I'm just really confused on the part of the sheriff's office. How do you say you don't have the evidence when the mother of the victim sees it on your desk?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, and so obviously the town is not very happy with the sheriff's department. That's obviously why they're having to release statements.
Well, no, absolutely, that's the truth. Like, yeah. You can go on any page in Malvern Hot Springs, and I'm telling you, 95% of these residents are not happy.
Now, what about the Malvern police? Do the Malvern police and the sheriff's department get along there?
I really don't know because I don't deal with the Malvern Police Department.
Yeah. Now, has there been a lot of issues as far as, I guess the new administration? How long have they been in office now, the new administration?
They got office, they took office January the 1st of 2017.
Oh, wow. Okay. So they've been there for a little
while. Yes.
How many issues has the department had, have like this other guy, has there been a lot of other issues with officers or any of that stuff since 2017?
Well, right after they came in, I can't give you the exact dates. We had a police canine that was with Hot Springs County that everybody says was murdered.
Yes, Pauline.
I don't think that was ever anything done with that.
And Pauline, we've had probably 12 people write in about that canine.
Really?
Yes.
saying that
Lucky.
saying it was in a backyard, and I've even heard that it was beaten to death.
Well, see, I've heard lots and lots of different stories on it, and what's the actual truth, I don't know, because nobody really got to know. Mike Cash buried the dog before too many people, didn't even invite the public to it or ex-handlers or anything to his funeral.
Well, can you tell us the little backup story of the little canine? I think it was gifted to the police department or something. I don't know.
I'm not exactly sure. I do know they have a Justice for Lucky page on Facebook. I've not been on it in quite a while. I've had everything else going, so I haven't really been over there.
Well, so without you don't got to say names, but do you think that you know who murdered your son?
Yes.
And do you think that the sheriff's department knows, regardless of evidence, who murdered your son?
Yes, I have a recording from the detective telling me who murdered my son.
And so one of the things that we were going to talk about earlier was admissible evidence. And based on just kind of conversations we've had and all that, which we won't get into who, obviously, but evidence that is admissible or credible, and I say admissible, but meaning admissible in court, credible evidence and how they handle evidence and how they just basically go through the process of evidence. From what I've heard is, besides the fact that there was lost or stolen or whatever evidence, the evidence that they did have, regardless of whatever those things were, was grossly mishandled. And I'm not talking about something stupid. I'm talking about just moronic handling,
Yes.
to the point of purposeful mishandling of evidence, to where that said evidence would no longer be admissible in the court of law.
Yes.
And when you don't have evidence to be admissible in court, you don't really have anything, which is good if you don't want that evidence, I guess, to be admissible in court. I mean, like, I don't want to say like there's this giant conspiracy with the sheriff's department. There was someone else involved in this that makes all of this conspiracy, because that's what it is. I mean, if you talk about people that get together for a evil or criminal thing, that's a conspiracy.
Yes.
And it could be a conspiracy to hide evidence. It could be a conspiracy to shelter or help someone not either go to jail or be found guilty. And I've heard kind of a couple different things when it comes to that. Like, is there a big conspiracy in this county? If there is, why? How deep are the people involved, if that's the case? Or is it really just complete moronic negligence to the umpth degree? And I just don't see.
I think it's a combination of both.
Yeah, it's just it's hard for me to believe that it's just complete moronic negligence.
Yeah, you just don't lose information from a computer. You don't just lose evidence and say it's from people that got loose from narcotics. That does not happen anywhere. Like, I would lose my job doing what I do if that happened. I would be fired automatically.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's a good old boy, in the good old boy systems, especially in small towns, they're going to, in some places are going to try to uphold the law based on whatever is in it for them, depending on what they're involved in, whatever that may be. For example, in Tennessee, and there are many places in Tennessee, there's some places in South Carolina, they have cockfighting rings, to where these farms of rich people, they get together on Saturdays or Sundays. They fight roosters and all that stuff. The police department makes sure that they are protected. And, if a PETA member shows up, they get arrested, thrown off the property, which is, even dog fighting rings have this. Is because, a lot of these small towns get cuts of money from mega bets that they put on dogs or roosters or whatever the case is. I mean, that's just a small scale corruption. But then you also have corruption in and I'm talking about major corruption in a lot of small towns that deal in drugs.
Yes. And I think that's part of our problem here is the drugs.
Yeah, and so sometimes depending on how and like I said, I'm not saying that's at all what's going on there. I have no idea. I'm just saying I'm just saying other places there are issues with small town departments that, get a lot of extra money on the side based on certain things they either look the other way on or some people's involvement or whatever the case is. There's movies about it, but there's also actual real life things that happen. And these things eventually get taken down. Some don't. It just depends. The whole FBI thing and coming in and all this stuff. You would want to think the FBI or someone like that would just come in and, that was one of, I guess, Hot Springs County defenses is like, well, the FBI's never been here or whatever.
Oh, they've been here to investigate Wimberry, but they didn't investigate us. If we were crooked, why didn't they do that?
Yeah.
That was one of their points.
But it's not always easy. You look at this situation in South Carolina here with Alec Murdaugh, which, I mean, he was the solicitor. He was over 5 counties. Basically, his family controlled 5 counties. Now his wife and son are murdered. They've gotten out of so much shit in this state, which did Alec Murdaugh kill his wife and son? Who knows? But she was about to find out about all of the money laundering and all this crazy shit he was doing.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, now that he is in jail, we're starting to peel back how much corruption
how
was
many
involved
layers,
in this with judges.
And it goes with judges
even
and everything
possibly
else.
State law enforcement people. We don't know, but I'm just saying you never would believe that unless something massive happens involving one of them to where somehow you can start peeling back the layers. And
and that's the same case here. I think there's so many layers that you got to peel them back to find the truth. Possibly. And I think the only person or persons that are going to find the truth are the FBI.
And look, I will say this briefly. We can give, we don't know if there's 100% corruption. We don't know 100% of that. I don't know. Opinion based. If you want to, if we could say everything that we have heard, which we can't really, but if we could, I think 95% of you guys would probably err on the side of there's probably corruption there. But which is not far fetched in a lot of departments these days. Especially small.
I can tell you, anybody that lives in this county can tell you that they feel like there is corruption here.
Mm-hmm. And I think that shows.
Well, just go to
media,
go to their Facebook page and you see it. I mean, all you have to do is go to their actual Facebook page, and you're going to see the people.
Yeah,
people's opinions.
Well, Pauline, is there anything you want to say to if someone is listening that did this, or people that would have evidence, at least as far as witnessing or any of that stuff? Is there anything you want to say to those people right now that may be listening? Because I think your entire state listens to our episodes on this, so I want to give you the opportunity to speak to those people if you would like to.
Yes, I would like to ask them to please come forward, help me get my life back in line. Right now, we're not living. We are in constant fear. We don't know when something's going to happen to us. We don't know what's going to happen. We're constantly afraid for our lives. I mean, it's bad. We just want our lives back. We know it won't be the same because we won't have Mark. But we want to try to get back as close to normal as we can. Yeah.
And you think, the people or the person that did this being behind bars obviously is going to make you feel safer.
Period, yeah.
I mean, it's obviously it would for anyone. I mean, it's a tough thing.
I don't want another family to have to go through what I'm going through.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, there's been 5 more families that have gone through this within months.
Yes.
With no answers.
With no answers in a very small town. I just wonder, why can't they look at all these different murders and maybe
it seems like there's a lot of
find
stuff
something
connected.
That's connected.
Yeah, it seems like there's a lot of stuff connected.
Yes, I feel like there's a lot of it that is connected, and I think a lot of it all comes back to the drugs in this town.
Yeah, you're probably right. I mean, it's people, when you get into drugs, I mean, hell, look at the movie or the show Walter White and Breaking Bad, and what drugs can make a normal person, do. And
Yeah.
the longer you're in them, the more crazier shit you're going to do. And that's just, I think there's a structure and a hierarchy there. I think that
and there's definitely a hierarchy.
There's a couple of them that
Malvern.
were taken down recently.
Yeah, there's definitely a hierarchy in Malvern, but there's also the people that are below those people. And I know those people that have experienced seeing or doing or being a part of this stuff, they don't sleep at night. I know they don't. And those people that have that guilty conscience, those are the people that we need to come forward.
But the problem is with those people is the people that have guilty consciences of either murder or witnessing murder, they just get higher, so they don't have to have it anymore. Even though sometimes, especially with meth, it makes you even more paranoid.
It does. And I think about like these people that may have witnessed Mark's death. I think they're paranoid every day.
Yeah.
They have to be.
They should be.
Because I know there's people that seen it.
Yeah.
We know that for a fact.
Question, yeah. Well, Pauline, we're not going to keep you on here. We definitely appreciate you coming on. And, we hope, I mean, with the amount of people that have talked to us and you and kind of everything we've got, there's no question in my mind it's going to get solved. The people will go to jail, or the person and people will go to jail that need to go to jail. We just got to work out some things, and we're working on some things behind the scenes that we can't talk to you guys about. But, it's one of those things that if you were involved or witnessed or were an accessory of this, you need to talk now because, when you're caught, you don't really have any.
And just like you said
don't really
before,
have any leg to stand on.
Small towns talk.
Oh, yeah, they do.
They do a lot.
Including your close associates. So yeah, but Pauline, thank you so much for coming on. Is there anything else you want to say before you go, or?
I just want to thank you for doing this for us. We have nowhere else to turn.
I know, and that's why we are here for you, Pauline.
We're doing what we can.
Yeah.
Well, I sure appreciate it.
And by the way, for those of you out there that are little investigators, which a lot of you listeners are, feel free to help us with this.
Yeah.
Feel free to help us
crack this case for us.
Yeah, feel free to put pressure on the department. I'm not telling you to call, but you can, because they are public officials and they are taxpayer. I mean, especially if you live there, you're a taxpaying citizen, and you got to hold your
and
officials accountable.
And you have a right to your speech.
Yes. Well, Pauline, thank you so much for coming on, and we'll definitely, hopefully, have a good update the next time that we all talk.
Thank you very much.
All right, have a good one, Pauline.
You too.
So that was Pauline. Yeah, it's I do think that I think it'll get solved, but the corruption and all that stuff, if that's what's happening, is not good, and this happens everywhere. It's not. I mean, you look back at COVID and you look back at all this shit. Look at the corruption on a massive scale. I mean, look at how big the corruption is on a mass scale. Even with COVID and with the entire pandemic. And it's like there were people that just went on and was like, oh, don't, everything's fine. Everything's normal. And they try to lie to themselves. They listen to the mainstream media. They listen to all that shit. But yet the people that are truth seekers, the people that want to know the truth, those are the people that understand how bad corruption is and how bad conspiracies are and the world we're really living in.
Mm-hmm.
And it's gotten worse, and it's gotten so bad that it's affected small towns and big towns or whatever for a long time.
And that's looking on a big scale. But we also have to look on a little scale. You have to look at, the parents, the brothers, the sisters of these people that are being murdered and
how it affects their lives.
And how it affects their lives, and they're not getting, the only thing they want is justice for their son, of course.
Yeah.
And until they have that, they don't have their life back. It's just like I was talking to Miss Hays the other day. And the place where her son's body was found, I think a couple months afterwards, she went back there and found like a human jawbone. And she turned it into the police. That was like 4 years ago. And she's yet to be determined if that was her son's jawbone or somebody else's. Like, I don't get that.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Like, do you not think that she should have answers about whose jaw that is by now?
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
Like, things like that's got to stop.
But guys, listen, if you have anything to say, if you have any information, if you know anything about the case, please let us know. Let the police know. Let us know if you feel safer. You can be anonymous, even if you have something that you want to share that would help the case, and you don't want anybody to know you are. We will make sure you remain anonymous. And
I would, like right now, would like to invite the upcoming sheriff, people that want to be sheriff, if they want to come on this podcast in the future and just tell what they would do to change this county and how they can change it. And I'd also like to invite Mike Cash on here.
Yeah, if you wanted to.
You know,
yeah,
any people that want to make change to this county, I invite you to come tell us how and what you want to do and what you see in the future.
But yeah, any of you little investigators out there, if you want to help us with this or know of any way that you can help us with this case, please let us know. You can reach out to us. Tell us how you can help us. You know, whatever we can do to try to solve this is all we're trying to do. And, you know, this is going to be something that we're going to continue to follow. Hopefully there will be something good that comes out of this and we can finally wrap this up and with a good outcome.
And give his mother peace.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, so I think that's going to be it for this episode. It lasted an hour, but you know, I just want to make sure that we keep this name and this case in the light.
We have to.
And all of that.
Yeah. Because if you let it go, nobody's going to do anything.
Yeah. And guys, we're definitely going to be back with our regularly scheduled programming very soon. What is tomorrow? It'll probably could be tomorrow night, could be Saturday, but we've got so much other crazy stuff to talk about that's going on in the world. We got to get back to that. We actually even have some UFO stuff that we got to talk about. And so be looking out for that, guys. We're sorry that we've been away, but we're going to be back very soon. And until next time, is there anything else, Sherry?
That's it. Glad to see you guys again.
See ya. All right, guys. We love you. Until next time.
Peace out.
Peace out.